What is up, everyone? Today we're diving deep into the lore of one of Mortal Kombat's most obscure characters, Hydro. From comic book sidekick to cyber ninja, this water-wielding warrior has a surprisingly rich history, but could he make a splash in the rebooted timeline in Mortal Kombat 1? Let's find out. If you guys are new here and you want to help support the channel, subscribe to reach my 25,000 follower goal, and comment what other Mortal Kombat characters you think deserve a resurgence down below. Let's get into it. Before we jump into Hydro's story, let's set the stage. The early 90s were a golden age for Mortal Kombat. In 1992, the first game hit arcades, revolutionizing fighting games with its digitized graphics and controversial fatalities. It was so popular that it sparked a morality panic, leading to the creation of the ESRB rating system. Talk about making an impact. And by 1993, Mortal Kombat 2 was taking the world by storm, introducing some fan favorite characters like Baraka, Katana, and Melina. The franchise was exploding beyond just games, with movies, TV shows, and yes, comics on the horizon, which brings us to Hydro's first appearance. Enter Malibu Comics' Mortal Kombat Blood and Thunder series from 1994. While the games were limited in how much story they could tell, the comics had a free rein to expand the lore, and that's where our boy Hydro made his grand appearance. Hydro burst onto the scene as Sub-Zero's ally and fellow Lin Kuei assassin, where they prepare for Scorpion's return. His powers are manipulating water, but also so cold that it could freeze opponents on contact, similar to Sub-Zero. This was at a time when the Lin Kuei were still mysterious and we didn't know much about Sub-Zero's background, so Hydro helped humanize the Ice Ninja, showing that he actually had friends and a life outside of the tournament's combat. But Hydro's comic book career was short-lived. After small fights with Johnny Cage and Liu Kang, he is separated from Sub-Zero and eventually has a run-in with Scorpion, and in true Mortal Kombat fashion, he met a gruesome end at the hands of everyone's favorite Hellspawn ninja, but he stayed true to his ideals, going out without fear. It's somewhat unclear exactly what Scorpion did to him, but it looks like a pretty strong punch that ended Hydro. Now, this was during a time when Scorpion's vendetta against Sub-Zero was at its peak, and before we learned about the complex history between Scorpion and Sub-Zero, and most importantly, Quan Chi being the mastermind. So pour one out for Hydro, folks. He may have been a small drop in the Mortal Kombat ocean, but he made ripples that fans still talk about today. As we move into the late 90s, Mortal Kombat was evolving. Mortal Kombat 4 brought us the series in 3D in 1997, introducing new characters like Quan Chi and Shinnok. The early 2000s saw the release of Deadly Alliance, Deception, and Armageddon, expanding the roster and deepening the lore. But during this time, Hydro was largely forgotten. He didn't make the jump into 3D, and new water-based characters like Rain started gaining popularity. It seemed like Hydro had no chance making a return. But true fans never forgot. In fact, Hydro became something of a legend among the community. Fans speculated about his potential return, creating fake character bios, and even modding him into their own games. It just goes to show that in Mortal Kombat, no character truly dies, at least not in the fans' hearts. That brings us to 2011, which was a massive year for Mortal Kombat. The 9th main game, simply titled Mortal Kombat or Mortal Kombat 9 to some fans, rebooted the entire timeline. It retold the stories of the first 3 games with stunning graphics and a deeper narrative focus on the story. But that wasn't the only reimagining happening in 2011. Enter Mortal Kombat Legacy, a web series that took a grittier, more realistic approach to the Mortal Kombat lore. I'll be the first to say that Mortal Kombat Legacy was an amazing time for fans. I remember every week watching episodes on Machinima on YouTube with my friends and had a blast. In Mortal Kombat Legacy, Hydro got a high-tech upgrade. Gone was the waterbending ninja, now Hydro was going by LK1v1, a prototype cyber ninja. This version of Hydro traded water for electricity, zapping his opponents with lightning-fast strikes. This reimagining tied into the larger story of the Lin Kuei's Cyber Initiative, a plot point that had been central to the games since Mortal Kombat 3. We got to see an early stage of the program that would eventually produce Cyrax, Sector, and even Cyber Sub-Zero. Here's a fun fact for you. At 50 years old, this made Hydro the most experienced cyber ninja. That's right, he is 50 years old canonically. But the experience was not enough to save him from a brutal demo match against Cyrax and Sector. And spoiler alert, it did not end well for our boy in blue. The fate of Legacy's Hydro ended with a swift fight, but a badass one is that. It added a tragic dimension to the character, but showing that the human cost of the Cyber Initiative was large. Skipping Mortal Kombat X and moving into Mortal Kombat 11, released in 2019, this game continued the new timeline started in Mortal Kombat 9, and it introduced time travel shenanigans, bringing past and present versions of characters together. Starting to think Hydro was gone forever? Think again. In Mortal Kombat 11, he made a sneaky appearance as a non-playable modifier in the Towers of Time as an item, letting the player blast a wave of water across the map. While not quite the comeback we were hoping for, it did show that NetherRealm hadn't completely forgotten about him. This cameo was more than just an Easter egg. It demonstrated that NetherRealm's awareness of the deep history of Mortal Kombat characters and their willingness to acknowledge them, even the most obscure parts of Mortal Kombat lore, were possible. It gave hope to fans of other forgotten fighters. After all, if Hydro can make a comeback, maybe Meat, Mataro, or even Suhao. Okay, maybe not Suhao. Now we're to 2023, where we saw the release of Mortal Kombat 1, a soft reboot of the franchise. This new timeline, shaped by Fire God Liu Kang, reimagines familiar characters and relationships. We've seen Scorpion as a heroic family man, Mileena and Kitana more sisterly than ever, and even Johnny Cage as a struggling actor rather than an A-list star. With Mortal Kombat 1 rewriting the rules, could this be Hydro's chance to make a real splash? Let's break down the possibilities. First, we have the Cyber Initiative 2.0. With the new Cyber Initiative giving us Sector and Cyrax in the new DLC, maybe there's a chance for an updated Hydro that is a Cyber to make an appearance. Even if it was only for the story, I'd still love to see him. Our other option is a Cameo Fighter DLC. With the new Cameo system, we've already gotten duplicate characters such as Sub-Zero, Scorpion, Kung Lao, and more. So to add a cameo to the roster, it would be really cool to see Hydro return, since Rain is already on the main roster, so they could use some similar abilities while making him his own cameo fighter. Another option would be a Rain skin, so let's face it, NetherRealm loves this new shop tab they added. So maybe to spice things up, we could add Hydro as a Rain Premier skin, similar to some of the Injustice 2 skins. Since they have similar powers, it would be a great compromise, even though I would prefer a full character. Our last option would be Combat Pack 3, if they're doing one. Since Rain is in the main roster, I don't see much of a chance for Hydro to get in Mortal Kombat 1, but if they're going to give him a character slot in the third combat pack, it would be really cool, and they could even make him focus more on his lightning abilities to separate him from Rain. Hydro's history from comic book side character to potential game roster isn't even unique in the Mortal Kombat fighting games. Look at characters like Ermac, Reptile, and Scarlet. These characters were so small in their first appearances, but now have become a major part in Mortal Kombat's new timeline. These transformations show the power of fan engagement and developer creativity. They remind us that in the world of fighting games, any character can rise from obscurity to become a fan favorite. So there's everything you need to know about Hydro in Mortal Kombat, whether it's his past or his potential future in the series. Personally, I would love to see Hydro, especially since we've seen Rain a couple of times in the new timeline. It'd be really cool to see Hydro take his place for one of the games. With that being said, let me know any other Mortal Kombat characters that are super underrated but deserve some more spotlight, like this character Hydro. I did make 2 other videos about Ruby and Chrome, so go check those out if you haven't seen them. And if you want to help support the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and help me reach 25,000 subscribers. With that being said, have fun as always, be respectful. See you guys next time. Thanks.